hear the impact over here. Ricky! It's getting closer. We advance without borders. We're 3 British lads. John, say hi. Woo! Ricky, say hi.
Hey!
So we're 3 British lads who've come over to try and help with the war effort in Ukraine, and you know, we've done some pretty full-on stuff so far. We managed to pioneer new routes, so finding new routes around bombed out bridges for international aid, and we've been able to send that information back, and now more people are coming and aid's starting now to reach Kiev. Top driver, mate. So we're just on our way back from Kharkiv, where we dropped off about £2,500 worth of aid that was sponsored by the UK, or UK donors. The aid included food, sanitary pads, incontinence pants for the elderly. We dropped it to a local charity who took us out to deliver it, and as we were delivering it, we started being shelled. So the area around us started being shelled. It wasn't an attack on military targets. This was an attack on a residential area. You know, and it was quite far in the distance, and then it got closer and closer and closer, which wasn't a great experience. You know, so you can feel your teeth rattling as it's getting closer. You're wondering where it's going to hit, where the impacts are. You're hearing the thuds of the impacts come closer. So we saw, heard and felt the artillery, which was a horrific experience. And I really feel for the locals there who have to experience this day in, day out. And we asked them, you know, why are you still staying here if it's like this every day? And they said, some of them said, these are older people, you know, they're 80s and 90s. They said, we're not going to leave because we're not going to give Putin the satisfaction of leaving, which, you know, is very honourable, very brave, but it's very dangerous as well. And then others said they're unable to leave because they're too old, they haven't got any family who can look after them, or their younger relatives have left. And that's why, again, what we were doing was very important, because we were delivering them aid because they haven't got any money for food. You know, pensions out here aren't particularly great, and due to the price inflation, a lot of people can't afford the basic necessities they need to survive. And it's, you know, it was tough to hear. We were hearing stories from very old people saying they're up and down from their basements all the time. We asked them, you know, why aren't you wearing body armour? Why aren't you wearing helmets? And it's simply because they can't afford them. And, you know, that's tough to hear as well. You've got people stuck in a city which is being shelled day in, day out, unable to wear proper protection to protect them from shrapnel. And as well, we were looking at some of these buildings. We got to go inside a building that had been recently bombed, I think a couple of days ago. And, you know, 4 stories completely demolished, the inside's burnt to a crisp. That's, you know, dozens of people's lives completely destroyed. You can see again how people's entire lives have been devastated. Smashed car, building completely, you know, falling apart. You know, these cars over here, you can tell the people here aren't particularly wealthy. Again, car severely damaged. That's going to be repaired. You know, that's going to be a hard job to repair there. You can hear bits of glass still falling off this building. Just the devastation. And again, it's not a military area. This is a completely civilian area that's been targeted for no apparent reason other than to destroy the morale of the Ukrainian people in Kharkiv. People's cars just left abandoned, riddled in shrapnel, and I know it's tough to see. We've not had that experience before, seeing the human human experience of the war. We've seen the buildings destroyed, we've seen the aftermath, but not as it's ongoing. And you know, there's no honour in what the Russians are doing here. You know, if it was military versus military, you can understand. Artillery's not nice for anyone, but shelling civilian areas, didn't see any military presence here. The military have all pulled back because it's so dangerous. And you know, how's that right? Shelling civilian areas. They're only doing it because they want to intimidate the local population into fleeing the area so they can destroy the local infrastructure. But the locals are saying we won't leave. You've got people out sweeping the glass up off the streets to try and make it look as normal as possible to boost morale locally. I don't know, there's no solution. You know, we can only help so much, and we're going to keep dropping aid off to them. But you know, they're adamant they aren't going to leave. The only solution for them to turn back to normality is for this war to end. Thank you very much.
Добре.
So we just dropped some bits off, and look, their front garage is just being completely shot up. And this is even more horrific. This is a sign which says people. It says people, and the Russians have just shot through it. Oh, it's appalling. So we're out in Bucha and Irpin distributing aid. Bucha and Irpin is where the Russians massacred about 200 Ukrainian civilians for reasons of terrorism and genocide. And a little old lady, as we were giving her some food, invited us into her home.
Він усе, в нього, дивіться, сітки лежать, у нього все було, він так любив рибалку, він нічого так не любив, як рибалку.
And she showed us her front garden where her son was buried. And she said, as he was out gardening and in her back garden, a Russian sniper decided to shoot him for no apparent reason. You know, perhaps for fun, perhaps for reason of terror. The man wasn't a threat. He wasn't a soldier. He was killed. God knows why.
Собаки подавили кури. Це саме куди ж я їх?
Here was rocket.
Rocket attack.
З мене було росту.
A crater.
Yeah, right.
It's more than 2 meters
Down, yeah.
down, yes.
She was showing us some of his things, and it really puts a human element to this whole you know, just catastrophe. Unfortunately, you know, we've only seen homes which are bombed, and that's very sad to see, but it's heart-wrenching when you hear the stories. And this lady, you know, she didn't have anything there. She doesn't have water, doesn't have electric, doesn't have food, and she was trying to give us some fish that her son had prepared. Saying that, and we said, no, we don't want, you need it more than us. And she said no. So we took one fish, and she gave more to some of the other humanitarian workers, because she said we honour her son's memory by eating it. And, you know, it's a tragedy.